Welcome. My name is Richard Gardner from Frameworks Yoga. Thank you for tuning in. This is the first week of sort of new experiment, a weekly yoga subscription series where people get 2 videos, one more dynamic. This is the more calming practice. So it's two full length practices plus some bonus features and some Q&A. I'll answer your questions as a subscriber. So if you're interested in the subscription, please visit rgyoga.com. Also information is on my Frameworks Yoga Facebook page and Instagram. So thank you for joining me. This practice I've titled No Matter What Road I Travel. It's part of a quote from a poem that I'll share later on. And the practice features long holds. So it's most of the work's going to be down on the mat. We'll feature long holds for the legs. So there'll be a lot of quiet time, a lot of still space where we can really settle down and settle in. I'm also doing a fair amount of dynamic spine work on the floor. So you can unwind, soften down, settle in. So this would be a fantastic evening practice. So let's begin. Let's start on the back. Lie face up, feet flat on the floor, and relax down here. So check in, relax your head, feel the weight of your shoulders, feel the weight of your hips. And we're going to start breathing into belly, so breathe into the abdominal area, abdominal breath, and as you inhale, you'll fill up your belly. And exhale, you'll feel the belly depressurize. And start here for a few breaths to tune in. And you can ask yourself, so how are you? How are you doing? What was your day like? If there's any tense areas in your body, notice it. That's without judgment, but there is a noticing practice involved. And then we're going to start with some spinal movement here. The hips don't leave the ground, but as you inhale, you're going to arch your back. That increases the space in your belly. Taking the tip of your tailbone to the floor. That's on in-breath. And then as you exhale, press your low back into the floor and draw your navel in a bit. And go back and forth like this. So really just kind of intuitively slow. So we start mobilizing low back, and you start to get a sense of what your breath is like. And particularly if it feels shallow, dare to go a little bit slower so you can move a little bit more air into abdominal center. And as you exhale, very gently draw navel down into the floor. And go back and forth like this at your own pace. None of the breath practices really you have to follow me at all. So really it's, I'm breathing my own way and you can breathe your way. Okay, so take a deep breath into abdomen. And then exhale, neutralize your spine, and pause here for a moment. Just kind of notice initial impressions. How's your low back doing? Hips? Have things felt a little bit heavier into the ground? All right, great. And then from here, please extend just your left leg. And the left side of the body is going to virtually relax. It's not going to do anything. Your right side, as you inhale, you're going to press your right foot into the floor. Kind of lift just the right hip. You're going to squeeze the right side of your body. And that's your in-breath. You squeeze your low back. And then as you exhale, recoil back sort of where you started. So very just lazily dropping into the ground on every exhale. And repeat this a few times. As you inhale, arch your back, squeeze the muscles in your low back, sort of squeeze the kidney area. And then as you exhale, you recoil. And you can relax down on every exhale, relax there as long as you'd like, and then do this at your own lazy pace. And I found, any student knows I say this about every week, as soon as you start working on your low back space, a lot of my students start to yawn. I start to yawn too, so I'm not going to inhibit a yawn for this video. I am very pro-yawn. So as you arch your back, you squeeze into the kidney space, you might release a yawn. Yawns count as breath. And so try this on the right side another time or two. Yeah, so as you inhale, you squeeze. And then exhale, you come back to center. Place both feet on the floor, center yourself. All right, and so notice the new percolations and sensations around your right side. And then from there, please take your right leg forward. Now, the right side of your body is off duty. And as you inhale, you're gonna press the left foot into the floor. So lift your left hip up, arch your back a little bit, and squeeze your lumbar spine and kidney area. And then as you exhale, recoil, relax down. And whenever you're ready, inhale, press your foot into the floor again, arch your back, hip goes wherever it goes. And then as you exhale, recoil. And go back and forth like this, very lazily, very curious. This is very introspective. The calmer practices tend to be the more like introspective ones where you do a lot less and you notice a lot more. So really make this a noticing practice. If this side feels a little bit different in your knee or your hip, low back, notice it. And at your own lazy pace, do this another 2 or 3 times. Okay. Very good. So at the end of your next exhale, take both feet flat on the floor, pause here. So we got the middle of the torso, we got the right side, we got the left side. Take a deep breath in, feel any pulsations. Very good. And as you exhale from here, please take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. And you can hug, reach through your legs, hold your left hamstring. You can hug that in. If it feels okay, you can also hug your shin. So how far in this comes, it doesn't matter to me. I want to make sure your knee is safe. So make sure that knee feels okay. If you need a little more support for this knee, press this foot out. That'll help. That engages tibialis anterior. It helps get the patella tendon, draw the patella into your knee. So it feels okay. Head relaxed. See if you can draw the whole ensemble in. So does it get to the chest? Maybe not. To go further than this, oftentimes people want to like lift, and to me it's like there's nothing wrong with this. It's just more active than we could be. So we could be a lot more relaxed. Draw this in, breathe, and notice how the breath influences the stretch. And 2 or 3 more times here. Okay, great. And then from here, place your left foot on the floor. Place your right foot on the floor. All right. And drop your right hip down for a breath. Really let it sink and soak down. Okay, and then let's please try that on the other side. So left ankle on top of right thigh. You're gonna draw the whole thing in. Please take your hands underneath your hamstring. If that works for you, you stay here, you draw in. Again, if you'd like to support your left knee, if it feels like it's a little bit out of sorts, press the heel out, open toes. That helps activate the components of the knee to give it a little more sturdiness. And you can either stay here, you can also hold your shin, and then from here, head relaxed, draw the whole thing in, draw your whole ensemble in, and it's not too much effort. It's like appropriate effort, sort of lifting and rounding. That's very active. And the idea here is to keep the neck soft, jaws relaxed. And breathe here. At your own lazy pace, breathe here a few times. Okay, great. And from there, please take your right foot down, your left foot down, and pause. So you drop your left hip into the ground. Take a breath into belly, and exhale. Okay, so find your strap. And so these are some fairly long holds. I have a timer off screen. We're gonna go to, we're gonna hold these poses for 2.5 minutes per side. So again, it'd be a lot of long, steady holds. The idea being, and the first one we're going to do, right leg up in the air, take the strap around your foot. So we're here, you can hold the strap. The idea being the longer holds give the tissues time to absorb the stretch. So what do I mean by that? So we don't just have 5 breaths here, or even half a minute. Okay, we have a fairly long time, which means we can engage your leg, just very gently press your heel up, open your toes, and then on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe you want to take this stretch to just like a 5 or something, maybe a 4. Okay. The tendency is to lock out the knee. I do invite you to bend the knee just a little bit. So there's some activity in the leg. Locking out the leg tends to relax everything. So you bend the knee just a little, keep it engaged, very gently engaged, again, like a 5 or a 4, and then from there you press your heel up. All right. And you pause here, and you let the pose work on you. So in more dynamic practices, vinyasas, we wind up working on poses a lot. I like to think this is more yin. And the yin pose, you really let the pose do the work. And the body's receiving the benefits rather than performing to the benefits. So there's another minute or so here. So as your leg is up, notice the evolution of the stretch. So our sensations don't just kind of stay static, typically, right? So the sensation of stretch itself might move around the muscle groups. It might swell, it might ebb. So notice the evolution of this stretch. Keep your face relaxed. And there's another few breaths here. Okay, very good. And then exhale, release. Relax your leg down before we do the other side. Really feel the legs soften down. Really allow the leg to saturate groundward. Yeah, take a very gentle breath in. And exhale, please draw your left knee in, strap around your leg. around your foot, I should say. Okay, and then from here, so now your right leg can gently extend forward, left leg up towards the ceiling somewhere. If this side's tighter, so like, let's just say, and this does not have to be vertical, by the way. You would straighten the leg. If you need more slack, you could totally take slack in the strap. Right? If you don't need it, that's fine. And then from here, you're going to sort of dial it down to about a 5 or a 4. So the pose, like the tissues have time. The tissues are going to have time to accept the stretch. Especially sort of type A people, like really go-getters, are like, well, if 5 is good, then 10 must be twice as good. And it's really like a different quality. So the leg is up, gently press your left heel up, open your toes. And again, the leg, especially if you're more of a hyperflexible type, the knee might want to lock out. So bend your knee just a little, unlock the knee. So there's some dynamics there. And then from there, you can take the leg up to a 4 or a 5. All right. Now, this side has a completely different life history. Notice it. Maybe the stretches are sort of clustered around different areas of the leg than they were on the right side. This side might be more open, might be more flexible, it might be tighter. And we're noticing, make it a noticing practice. Notice the evolution of the stretch. And as your leg is up, the intuitive breathing. So very lazy breathing. We're allowing the stretch to soak in. And for our connective tissue, our nervous system, it all has a chance to get used to this. So there's an understanding of this position. And let's take another few breaths here. Okay. Great. And then you can release your left leg to the ground. Allow it to soften down. So feel the tissues recoil, contract, maybe some blood goes back into the back of your leg. Great. So that was Supta Padangusthasana 1. We're doing 3 versions. I usually shorten the loop on my strap for this next one. For Supta Pada 2, you're going to take your right leg into the strap, and instead of going up, we're now going to take the leg out to, your right leg out to the right. Okay. So, and I sort of do this automatically. Pro tip here, to make it easier on your hand, if you have a strap this long, slide it over your head and underneath your shoulders, like the way I'm holding it, so that you don't have to hold it exclusively with your right arm. The body weight of your upper torso can help hold the strap in place too. So it just makes it easier to manage. So your right leg goes out to the right. Okay, press your heel out. And then from here, the tendency is for this left hip to want to lift. So you're going to roll the belly to the left a little bit. Just allow that left hip to sink down. Press your left heel out a little bit, and that also helps ground your left hip. Okay. Now, how far this leg comes down, it doesn't matter to me. As long as hip and knee feel okay, you can take any elevation you want. And how close is the leg to your head? Again, listen to your leg. It can go wherever you'd like. Press heels in their respective directions and breathe into belly. Great, so as you're noticing the evolution of this pose, what's interesting about this variation is that the weight of the leg helps stretch the pose out. So it's very yin in that way. So there's a fair amount of stretch inside the leg. This could be a lot of hamstring for people. And you might also notice like a broadening and widening in lower abdomen. It's a great time to breathe. So breathe into lower abdominal organs. And it's fine if this is intense, but just see if you can make it appropriately intense and not have a reaction in your shoulders or your face. So tongue remains calm, jaw remains relaxed. And another few breaths here. Okay, very good. You can bend your knee a little bit, arch your back a little bit to get rid of to remove the strap from behind you. Relax your legs into Shavasana. So feel the inner channel of the leg relax and soften down. Yeah, take a moment to notice. Great. So I'm going to turn around. You don't have to, but I'm going to turn around to give you another glimpse of this strap setup. Because if you learn it once, then you can use it forever. So your left leg goes up in the air, strap around the leg, and I shorten the strap a little bit. Strap around your left foot. Okay? And then from here, the strap, I thread it over, is above my head and then around. So for Supta Pada 2, left leg out to the left. The strap's now underneath me, so not only do I not have to hold it with just my left hand, I can also hold it with my right. So you're really holding it almost like if you were sort of toweling off your back after a shower, you know, you sort of take it behind in that same general area. But you can use the weight of your body to help facilitate this. Okay? So it often saves the hand, makes the hand less crampy. So your legs out to the left. How low it goes, that's between you and your hip and your knee. Make sure all the joints feel okay. The tendency is for this hip is for your right hip to really lift. So you can roll your belly to the right a little. And if you press your right heel out, that often helps ground your right hip more. Okay? So left heel presses to the left, right hip is really heavy. And then the elevation of the leg, yogi's choice for that, that's your choice. And also how close does your left foot get to your head? That's also between your hips. You and your hips, listen to them, make sure everything's okay. Make sure there's an element of repose in this pose. And let the pose work on you. Notice the evolution of the stretch in your left leg, lower abdomen. In case your mind wanders, you can allow your thoughts to relax in the same way. You relax your jaw, you relax your face. You can relax the thoughts that arise in the same way. And then you get back to being curious and notice what's happening in the pose. Another few breaths. Okay, so from there, deep breath in, exhale, you can let go and remove the strap. Leg relaxes in Shavasana along with the rest of the body. Drop down, drop in. And allow yourself a moment. Fantastic. Okay, so feet flat on the floor. I'm going to ask you to shift your hips to the right for the third variation. So head and shoulders can stay where they are. From here, your right leg comes up, and this is Supta Padangusthasana 3. This involves a twist. So it's our first big twist of the practice. So you're going to take your right leg up, strap around the foot, and you're going to bring the leg and hip over. Across, you can lace the strap above your head and behind you in the same way. Okay? And then from here, both legs are stretching out. You're going to lengthen them. Thighs are engaged a bit. Okay, now this could be a big stretch for a lot of people. A lot of people, this is a tightness in the IT bands, outer hips. Okay. This is also the first big stretch. So as the leg goes over, your heart tends to want to go over as well. Okay. There's no hard and fast rules about what has to be on the ground. But as you inhale, arch your back a little. And as you exhale, roll your belly and your heart to the right. And I call it the inchworm technique. You can slide your shoulder blades to the left, kind of inchworm them over. Shoulder blades to the left, heart center to the right. And that's going to max your twist out, however much you're meant to twist. You'll get it there. And then you press both heels out, open all toes. And so this is a pretty comprehensive stretch. It's hamstring, outer legs, hips, torso. Some people also get it, so a heart opening on the right side. So this pose could be many things to many people. But my hope is you can sort of dial it back to a 5. That's not too intense. So if it's too intense, dare to back off, and that will allow your face to relax. Feel the weight of your head. Skull into ground. Relax your teeth. Relax your lips. And then breathe into the twist. Breathe into your abdomen. Both heels pressing in their respective directions. Okay, and a couple more breaths here. Notice the epicenter of experience. Where are you feeling this in the body? Has it changed? Has it moved around? Okay, great. And then you can remove the strap and relax your leg back to where you started. Hips back to middle. Take a Shavasana for a moment. Feel your right leg drop down, right thigh. The whole right body, really. Right shoulder heavy. All right. Nice. And then please to the other side. So I start by shifting my hips, just my hips, over to the left. And the strap comes around your left leg. So to the foot. And you take it over. Move my blocks out of the way. So you take it over, leg and hip. All right. And so we're on the second side here. People have different twists, people have different experiences in their hips. So this could be more of a challenge on this side. This could be less of a challenge. This could be very sort of like simple in contrast. Notice, make sure all your joints are okay. And then nothing's too intense. So appropriately intense. Intense enough that it feels like something's being done, but also that your body can accept it. Like it's getting to know the stretch. And as your left leg goes over, the heart tends to want to go over as well. So we can try that little scoot. You're going to arch your back a little bit. And then, so inhale here. And then as you exhale, roll your belly and chest to the left. And you can inchworm your shoulder blades over to the right. That will further the twist. It'll probably lower your left shoulder blade down. Is your shoulder on the floor? It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't have to be. If it is, fine. And then from there, engage your legs, press your heels out, open your toes, see what that does for the pose. And then you start to let the stretch soak in. If there is any tension accruing in your face, you can move your jaw around a little bit. Soften face, soften jaw. Intuitive breath. Every now and then a big breath in the belly. Another 30 seconds here. So notice how this pose has evolved. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. You can remove the strap from your foot. Bring your leg back to center. Hips to center. Drop everything. Yeah, feel this reabsorption on the left side. As the left side gets heavier, thigh heavy, left hip heavy, left shoulder heavy. Very good. So from there, let's come up to seated. So far we've worked on the back of the legs, the inside of the legs, the outside of the legs. We will get to the quads in a bit. I like to work on the outside legs a little more. I'm going to show you right shin in front of left. And then from here, slide your sitting bones back. And then from there, you're gonna forward fold. And how far you fold kind of depends on, again, whether your knees are okay or not. So we already tested this for lying on the back. If the knees need a little support, press your heels out, like that. And that should give it should feel like your knees are a little more, it gives them a little more firmament. And then you slide your sitting bones back. And if you feel like you're falling back, just take your hands behind you and you lift up. And hopefully there's some kind of stretch along the outside legs, outer hips. If you can fold forward, do so, and your arms are going to stop you from getting into it too far. Okay? So how far is too far? Well, if you can relax all the way down, by all means go ahead. But again, a 4 or 5 out of 10 in terms of intensity. So make sure you never enter into the red zone. That you can always soften and drop down. And yeah, so we're also going to be here for about 2.5 minutes. The idea in this pose is, can you relax the spaces that are feeling a stretch? So there are always exceptions to this, but in general, I'm looking for a stretch on outer thighs, hips, low back. And so the question is, how much can we relax those spaces and allow your body to kind of come home to them? So just relax back down. So yeah, intuitive breathing, relax, soften down. There's another 30 seconds or so. Notice how the pose feels now in contrast when you first got into it. And then take your time, press yourself back up. All right, hands can go behind you. As a counter, squeeze your shoulder blades into the back, lift your lungs up. And if you need a break for the legs too, because we'll be doing that on the other side, press your heels out. Draw your kneecaps in, open your toes. All right, and then we're back up to seated. Take your other shin in front. In this case, for me, it's the left. If the knees feel like they need some support, you press your heels out a little bit. Otherwise, you can relax your legs. And then from there, sitting bones back as far as possible. And then you're going to relax forward. So forward could be hands on hips, and this is about where you are for 2.5 minutes. If you're here for 2.5 minutes, fine. If you're here, fine. Here, fine. So the question is not how far you can go, but how relaxed you can be and how much you can notice. Just be very curious. So we're less doers. We're more like note takers. So you take notes, intuitive breathing. And allow your body to get familiar with these spaces. Another 30 seconds left. Notice how the pose feels now in contrast to 2 minutes ago. Has anything changed? All right, nice. So from there, you press your hands into the floor. Take your time to come up. You take your hands behind you. And as a counter, squeeze your shoulder blades together, arch your back, like we did at the beginning of practice, and extend your legs forward, one and all. Press your heels out, open toes. Breathe in the belly, but also breathe in the heart center. Deep breath in. Big exhale. And one last time, breath in. All right. Very good. So from here, strap out of the way, we're going to lie belly down. Okay, and this is really the next pose. So, and this is already option number 2. Option number 1 is to have your head all the way down. Head can be to either side or face down, whatever you want to do with your neck. Make sure your neck's okay. But for some people, the act of coming up into the Sphinx pose, this is already too much for the low back. So if it feels like there's a significant amount of pressure in your low back already, just come down here, and oftentimes this is enough for people to help develop the inward curve in their low back as we start on our spinal practices. Does that make sense? So this is number 1. This is number 2. And if you'd like to take a version of a yin cobra, you can always take your hands to the floor and lift up. Now I have a blanket here, so I feel like I'm gonna slip. I just take my hands underneath the blanket, come into the mat. So I have a pretty big back bend. I can relax here and soften down. So go to where you can soften. And there's no hard and fast rules on where your hands are. They can be off the mat. They can be really far forward. I think of my arms in this one like a kickstand. So it's kind of like wherever you can sort of settle down and still relax your low back. Okay? We're not here for 2.5 minutes, by the way. So another few breaths. Very good. And then exhale, you make your way down. Head in any orientation you'd like. So notice the decompression of the spine as you relax on the ground. Deep breath in the belly. Okay. And then from here, you're now going to take your right knee out to the right, and you're going to send it out to the right as far as you can. Okay. For some people, this is comfortable. Some people like sleep this way. So this might be a good place. If it feels difficult, you don't have to slide it out as far. You can bring your knee in. I'm sliding it off my mat onto a hard floor. That happens to work for my inner knee. But if it does not work for your knee, you feel free to place some clothing or a pillow underneath it, some kind of soft or a blanket. And then from here, you're going to send your upper body toward the knee. So your head and your arms are going to crawl over. They might also be off the mat. All right, now so you're crawling to the right. I'm looking for a stretch on our left side. So as you kind of smush one side, you stretch the other side. Okay. And then I'd like you to, the bent knee, your right knee, slide it out as far as you can. You're going to get an inner leg stretch. You also might line up your opposite low back for this next move. So this knee goes out, and then curl your back toes under and gently press your heel out, like we were doing when we were lying face up. So you press the heel out, and then breathe into your left side. So if this is enough for you, by all means, just keep breathing. Breathe down your left side. If it's okay for your neck, it might be pretty interesting to see what your upper back and your neck feel about options of head either to the left or to the right. Might want to spend a couple breaths in either. Just to see how it is. Okay. Or your head can stay face down. All right, yeah, so gentle pressure of the heel pressing back, allowing the left side of our torso to open up, left side of our spine to open up. And another several breaths here. Okay. Great. So from here, notice all that happens as you come back to center, extend both legs back, relax down into like a downward facing Shavasana. Yeah, feel the new sensations, percolations, tinglings in the body. All right. Great, and so let's try the other side. So feel free to take your left knee out to the left. I'm going to turn around, but you don't have to. Left knee out to the left. Okay. And if that feels okay for knee, you're good to go. If you'd like to add some support underneath it, find some and make sure your knee is safe. Okay. And then knee goes out to the side. So left knee out to the left. From here, we take our upper body over as well. Okay, does it come off the mat? It doesn't have to, doesn't need to. Wherever you go, you go. Okay. So upper body toward the bent knee. So now we're smushing our left side and stretching our right. To line up the low back, feel what happens to the right low back as you slide your left knee as far out as you can. Now, that might be overshadowed by the fact that that's also a big inner leg stretch, but maybe there's something that happens on the outside of your right lumbar spine or right hip. And then from here, back toes curl under and gently press your right heel back. That offers some traction to the lumbar spine as well. All right, so again, this side might feel completely different than our left side did. Notice what you can notice. If you are tight, there might be a lot of stretches in these practices. If you're open or naturally flexible, you might not get a lot of stretch sensation. So my advice to you, if you're very flexible, is to just enjoy the space. Enjoy the space, notice the space, breathe into the space of our system. Okay. Another thing that I find interesting for my own upper back and neck is what happens to my mid-upper back as I turn my head to one side. I pause there for a while. And you can explore the other side. And see if you can breathe into your right low back. Like you're sending the breath energy straight down from the right lung into right kidney, into right hip. And there's another 30 seconds here. Great, and then lazily make your way back to a downward facing Shavasana. Pause here. Notice the percolations, pulsations, tinglings in your system. All right, nice. So from here, so if Sphinx pose still feels if Sphinx pose is problematic, you can always stay down. We're gonna bend our right knee and either take a strap or you can grab that foot. So I'll demonstrate the strap. So you can hold here and then as much as you'd like, draw your knee in. Not draw the knee in, draw the foot in, okay? If you can hold the foot with your hand, you can go ahead and do that too. If it's available, you can also come up here. And I'm gonna turn around so you can see these actions. So, Sphinx pose I'm in, you reach back, draw your foot in toward the hip. If your quad and your psoas are tight, the tendency is for this hip to want to rise up off the floor. Okay, by stretching it on one end, we just naturally want to shorten it on the other. Hug your knee in, and as long as that's okay for your knee, keep the foot where it is, but then press your right hip down, and you should feel a lot more stretch in the quad and psoas. Okay. And again, I'm holding the foot with my hand. By all means, if it needs to be back here or even further out, just hold it with a strap. All right, and then press your right hip into the ground, and then from there, send your right lung forward. So you're gonna turn your heart forward toward the top of the mat. And breathe into front side of hips into the right, like you're breathing into your right bone point of the hip. And 2 or 3 more breaths here. Okay, so relax your efforts in the hips. Let go of your leg. Come into downward facing Shavasana. Like I said, curl your toes under and very gently press your heels back. Draw the kneecaps in a little. Deep breath in, and then exhale, release, bend your left knee, and reach back with your left hand. If you need the strap to bridge the gap, go ahead. I'm going to turn around again so you can see. You don't have to turn around. Okay, so if you're here and it's way out of reach, do what you need to do to set it up. Hold that. You can hold something like this. If someone's really tight and their shoulders don't have a lot of range either, this is fine. All right, I'm all for this. You press your hip down, and you're good to go. Okay? If it's available, if your knee is okay with all of this, and your shoulder, you reach your arm back, start hugging your knee in. Spine, we've already opened it up quite a bit, but if you want to lift up into a back bend, an extension of your lumbar spine, go ahead. All right, and so you bring your knee close. As your You bring your foot close. As your foot comes closer, the tendency is for the hip to want to lift. So again, it's the ASIS, the bony point of your left hip. Press it into the floor. And that should square up a pretty solid stretch in your quad, in your psoas. And then you lengthen your lungs forward. And like all other practices, this side might be a completely different animal. You notice it, you stay curious. Make sure your joints are okay. And make sure we're not in the red zone on this. So on a scale of 1 to 10, this is what, maybe like a 5, maybe for some of you like a 6 or 7. Just make sure it's not in the red zone. And twice more here. Okay, great. So take a deep breath in, and then next time you exhale, you can let the foot go. Come into a downward facing Shavasana. Curl your toes under. Hopefully you can see that. Curl your toes under and press your heels back gently. And breathe into your belly a few times. Great, and then from there, so we're going to come up, and I would like to sit either A, on heels or in between heels. This is about as high up as we're coming today. So there's a couple joints to consider. Make sure your ankles are okay. If not, you can add some support underneath it. So let me demonstrate with a blanket, but you can use pillows. So let me just kind of fold a couple layers of blanket here. And if the top of your ankle can't come down to the floor, you just bring the floor up to the ankle. Okay, so you see how now I'm stacked on top of several layers of blankets. That gives my ankles some support. Okay, so that's for the ankles. The knees are a different thing. I'm going to suggest most of us with any knee issues start on a block. I have the block at the lowest level. You can always go higher, though. Okay, that makes sense. All right, and so stage 1 is to just figure out how this feels. Like, what is this doing for you? Are ankles okay? Are knees all right? All right. Other options. Going the other way. Let me roll this blanket out. You're pretty flexible. Option number 1 is to sit on the heels. Option number 2, if you can scoot your heels out a little bit, you can sit down. Okay, in between heels. Okay, so this is giving knee stretch, ankle stretch. So find your option here, and I would continue. You dare to be picky about this one. Make sure knees are okay, ankles are okay. Once you find a spot, interlace your fingers and press your palms either A, forward or up in the air, and breathe into your side ribs. Okay, very good. Take a deep breath in and then exhale from there, release. We're now going to twist to the right. So that means you're going to take your left hand to right thigh, other hand behind you. Now, if you're high up enough that your hand can't grab anything, you just reach your arm back. Okay? Let me turn around so you can see this. So inhale here, arch your back, exhale, you reach. And you can use the power of your left hand to help you bring your left lung in front of right lung. Draw the shoulder blades into the back a little bit. Yes, send the fingers out nice and wide. And breathe down your right side. you inhale, derotate, come back to center. I'll switch sides again so I'm facing you. All right, and of course we take the other side. Right hand across the thigh to left thigh. Inhale, your hand can be on the floor if that makes sense. If you can't reach, no big deal though. Inhale, you're gonna arch your back, lift your lungs a little bit. Your left arm, so it reaches back. A gentle engagement on the shoulder blade to help open up the heart center. And then breathe into your heart center. Breathe down your left side. And twice more. All right, very good. So derotate, you come back to center. And this could be a moment of truth time. Take your time, you can bring yourself forward. 2 hands and knees. Move props out of the way, move your toes around, ankles around. Feel the blood re-enter ankles. And then from there, extend one leg back, and very gently, just to make sure that the bursae and the knees line up again, just engage and relax knee, engage and relax. Do that a couple times more. And then same thing on the other side. Other leg goes back, leg is gently extended, and then you engage and relax, engage and relax, engage and relax. And do that twice more. All right, nice. So, very good. Let's lie on the back now. Okay, so this last pose, there's no like ancient Sanskrit name for it. It's cat pulling its tail. So have your strap at the ready. This involves a twist and a whole bunch of stretches, really. So you're on your back. Your hips are going to shift to the right. And a lot of people take their knees over to the right. So hands on hips, you're going to shift your butt over to the right side of the mat. Okay? From there, right knee into a heart center, and you take it over for a twist while extending your other leg. Okay? So this option number 1 is you're here. Okay? So you can either stay here in this twist. This one has a name, Supta Matsyendrasana. This one has a twist. This one has a name. You can keep your left hand on the knee that came over. Option number 2 is either with a strap or with your right hand. You're going to reach down, take hold of the foot that's coming in, right? So option number 1 is your left leg is extended. Option number 2, you bend that knee, and I'm sort of sticking it up so you can see the holding. If you can't hold the foot, use the strap. And then from there, the foot that you're holding on the right, I'm going to turn around so you can see this move. So I'm holding my left foot with my right hand. And the foot that I'm holding, I'm going to press that heel out to the right. And that helps unwind not only the hips, but also the spine. Squeeze your shoulder blades in a little bit. And we're working on the kidney space. This might be very yawny. So there might be a yawn or 2 in this pose. So yeah, just to recap, left hand on the knee that came over, right hand is holding the foot that snuck under, and you're pressing this foot out. Yeah, relax your face. Last 30 seconds. good. So enjoy this Maha grand coming back into Shavasana as your spine untwists and your hips land and your thighs land. Relax your shoulders. And notice. So yeah, as we're coming back home to Shavasana, see how you're feeling. From here, take your feet onto the floor. Remember, not your knees. Your hips are going to shift over to the left side of the mat. Hug your left knee in. All right, and then your left knee is going to come across over for a twist as you extend the other leg out. All right, and we're in a supine twist. Again, I'm going to switch sides so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so right hand has your knee, and this is option number one. If this works for your spine, if this works for your life, go ahead and enjoy this, notice, try to settle into it a bit. If it's available, straight leg foot, this foot, you're going to bend that knee so the foot comes in and you take hold of the foot. If you need a strap to bridge the gap, go ahead and use it. You put the strap on top of the, around the top of the foot, like front of the ankle. And then this foot, the foot that I'm holding with my left hand, presses out. So in this case, I'm pressing toward you. I'm pressing toward the camera. So it's going to get you a stretch in the front side of our right hip and quad. This is a pretty awesome twist to the left. So you can roll your belly to the left, inch one of your shoulders over if you'd like. So arms are doing some work, legs are doing some work. Allow your head and skull, your face, your jaw, your neck to relax. And there's a lot you can focus on. Maybe just get a general impression of what this pose is doing. You can always sort of like look at the microcosm and then back up and check out the macrocosm. So yeah, like a lazy inquiry into physical sensation. And let the pose work on you. Last 30 seconds. All right, great. And then enjoy this. It's a grand release back into Shavasana. All right, press both heels out, engage your legs a bit, and then relax them. Yeah, feel the blood reoccupy spaces. Notice what you can notice. All right, great. And then from here, please take your feet first flat to the floor, and then you're going to hug knees into chest. So this is option number one. You can pause here in Vyamuktasana, draw your knees in. Like we did toward the beginning of class, I know you could round a little more. To me, they're kind of going in the opposite direction that the sequence went. So head relaxed, Option number 1 is knees in. Option number 2 is happy baby pose if you'd like to. The knees will go a little wider. Hold your feet. Knees coming down. That's one way to get a hamstring stretch here. If it feels okay, you can also take your toes back a little bit. That can give you more of a hamstring stretch. Just make sure it's not too intense. Okay, great. So the next time you exhale, release your feet, slide your feet out, and relax. And so here's a longer shavasana at the end of our session. So please bundle up. If you want to take a blanket on top, go ahead as we cool down a little bit. You can also, if the hips have a hard time relaxing, you can also take a blanket underneath thighs. Excuse me. So, I'm sitting up as you're settling down. So, relax your eyes, open or closed. Get comfy. And as you settle down, feel the weight of your bones. We've been doing a lot of that all practice. So it should feel like a familiar experience. It should feel like home to drop down, drop in. So you can continue to drop. I will read a short poem by Shinsho. He's a Korean monk, also a poet. I'll read a short poem. Does one really have to fret about enlightenment? No matter what road I travel, I'm going home. Does one really have to fret about enlightenment? No matter what road I travel, I'm going home. Okay. Very good. So from here, so notice we've been noticing our interior landscape quite a bit. And notice your surroundings. Of course, you might not be at home, but I'm assuming at least some of you are practicing from your home. So notice your surroundings, any visual quality or audio quality. The clock's ticking, I hear kids outside. And notice it. Take a deep breath in the belly and exhale. And from there, hug one knee into chest. Give your knee a good hug. And then switch legs. Other knee draws in. Give your knee a good hug. Sweep a breath across your low back. Okay, and then please draw both knees in. So take an inhale here. And exhale, roll over to one side. Notice how it feels to move after a brief period of stillness. All right, and then with as little effort as possible, make your way back up to seated. All right, and so notice your interior landscape, your inner home. Notice the environs where you are now. And take a deep inhale and let it go. All right. Great. So thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste. And again, this is an experiment, I think, for all of us. Thank you much for your practice, for checking out this series. If you're interested, again, feel free to visit my website, rgyoga.com. There's the information about the subscriptions. If you think this is enjoyable and helpful for you, I'd be so happy for you to support it. So thank you so much, and have a great day. Namaste.